Good morning. It's a whole 20 degrees out today, so it's pretty cold. So I had a question last night from Brandon. Appreciate the question, Brandon. And Brandon was asking, let's take a look what old Brandon was saying here. Brandon was basically asking about, have you ever had somebody not pay you? And yes, I have had somebody not pay me before. And I'm going to tell you how to kind of mitigate that and what I think on that, because let's just say it's not fun when you have somebody not pay you. So let's go back here. I just want to make for sure. Yes. Okay. So that was it. Have you ever had somebody not pay you? Okay. So I think probably the worst that I can kind of remember just off the top of my head was, I remember a customer one time, this was for a residential. I remember one time we ended up ordering the door, and you know, our vendor was late. Our vendor took longer than the other one, or the other company might have had it in stock. I don't know. They went to another vendor that was close by and picked up the door. But I remember we went there to actually literally go install the door. So we bought and paid for this, and at the time, you know, we were a small company. So I mean, when you're buying a $400 door, you know, it was a lot of money when you only had $1,200 in the bank account. You know what I mean? And you're trying to do payroll for 2 people, and you're still trying to put gas in a vehicle and make the payments on the vehicle or just whatever. So I remember we ended up showing up at this job, and there's a new door installed. So of course we're kind of like, it's like you're pinching yourself, kind of going, is this for real? And so I remember we talked to the customer, and the customer was like, oh, I guess I forgot. You know what I mean? I forgot. So here's the point. One thing I've learned over the years is you have to tie up other people's money. Think about yourself, right? When you give somebody money, you normally don't forget, right? So you got your money, you made an investment, right? So now you're gonna call that person, hey, where's my stuff? When's it gonna be delivered? You're being persistent on them. But if you never invest the money, it's kind of like when you're shot for something, right? And they say they got like 1 million of them in stock or whatever, 100, or whatever, and you're like, I don't feel like I'll have to order it right now. But when it starts getting down to like 1 or 2 or 3, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to buy this, right? You get this impulse, So you got to tie up their money because it stops them. You know what I mean? And I think it's a psychological barrier that a lot of people, including myself, I still have psychological barriers I have to get over. But you have to not be afraid to charge half down. And for us, we don't typically come out unless we're getting half down, and we've already done our pre-qualification in that situation. So yes, I think it's kind of like a law of attraction in a sense. You kind of attract your surroundings. So for a while there, back years ago, we had a spell too that we were getting a lot of bad checks. And I remember I was going to buy a machine that could, to check it when I was on the scene, and then it was, just when kind of wireless stuff was coming out, and I never did do it. But I just remember we were getting a flood of bad checks for a while there, and it was just kind of like, to be honest, looking back, I think it's because I don't want to say we were targeting, but we were attracting low-end customers. My secretaries do a phenomenal job with screening people, you know what I mean? And I try to teach them everything I've known over the years of how to screen the customer. And so we mitigate a lot of that, and we don't work on a desperate mindset. If you work on a desperate mindset, you're just trying to take anything you can get, right? Because you're just like, oh my gosh, and I remember one time this job, it really stuck with me. It was an older guy. He was a bigger dude. He was kind of overweight. He was not in the best health. He lived in a not so good area. And I remember he got me down. I think our service calls then were $85 or something. And he got me down. He's like, well, that's ridiculous. And he got me down to 65, right? And I was like, fine. We'll do it. And I was just like, because I was just so like, we need the money, right? And I remember going there, and I had to work on the photo eyes or something. and the bottom of the lower end of the garage was literally rotted away. Like I had nowhere to mount these, and then I was trying to go to block, and I didn't have a hammer drill at the time. And my life, and he's just, his garage is full of garbage, like literally garbage. Like, I mean, there might have been a dead animal in the corner as far as I know. And it's like, you got to kind of move up. And I understand when you do it from the start, you got to you can't be as choosy, but you got to work your way out of that and understand that sometimes the mindset, you're attracting that into your life in a sense. I teach the kids all the time. It's here. We all have fingers and toes and arms and that, and some are a little stronger and whatnot, but generically we're all kind of the same. But here is where it counts. What you think, how you think about it, how do you problem solve? I see a lot of hurdles that I never thought I would ever see. And the biggest hurdle of all is people don't know how to problem solve, and people don't know how to take charge, and people don't almost take leadership, you know what I mean? And say, I'll take responsibility and I'll make the call and I will fess up if I'm wrong. And people sometimes just are scared, or they just don't want to deal with the responsibility. And you just got to step it up. So if you're not getting paid, you're doing some stuff wrong. You know what I mean? So like we always do at the end of the job too, we try to collect payment right at the end of the job. I used to, it's embarrassing to say it, but I used to just send an invoice, or leave an invoice, right? You can't do that with residential. Residential, they're almost like so scatterbrained in a sense, and they got so many things. They got kids in school and car payments, and the house is on fire and the water tank blew up. You can't do that. It hurts them more when you stand there in front of them and go, hey, I'm done with the job. Are you happy? Everything looks good, right? I cleaned up my mess. The door looks beautiful. It's in perfect. I need to collect my rest of my money, because they don't typically want to say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the money, or I can't pay it, or whatever, because they look like an idiot. But when it's behind, it's almost kind of like keyboard ninjas. When they're behind, they're at their home and you leave now, it can turn into a whole legal battle even, you know what I mean? If they want to push it to that extent, and then it comes down to it, do you want to go to court? What's your time worth? You got to pay $200 just to get into the court system almost, your time, probably blow 3 days on going to the court system and dealing with a judge, and it just becomes a mess. So yes, there's been times, we've been screwed, and you got to get a customer, what is it, CPR? I can't think what it is, but you got to get a good software that you can mark people. And we do good documentations that we have customers that are on the naughty list basically, and we will not service them. And we do a lot of pre-screening before we even engage with customers, because it has to be a two-way relationship. It really does, and people don't understand that. It's you got to get it out of your mind that, since they're on the phone and they're going, oh my gosh, I got a problem. That doesn't constitute, your emergency to be my emergency, because maybe you didn't take care of your garage door. Maybe you hit it with the car and you weren't paying attention. That's not my fault. You know what I mean? That's not my fault. I see that a lot. Well, the garage door didn't go up all the way. Did the garage door really not go up all the way? Or did you just not watch and it was going up and then you went to back up? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I tell you what, regardless, if you run over a kid when you back up, you're responsible, right? And it doesn't matter. I didn't know. You're right. It happens. It happens. But you know what? You're still responsible, because you were driving that car and you backed up and you ran over and killed somebody, or whatever the case is. You also have to watch for your garage door. You have to always pay attention to your surroundings. I'm sorry that you were probably on your smartphone, playing with the heater, playing with the radio. I do it most of the time. Will I mess up one day? Maybe. It happens. But I'm not going to say, well, the garage door didn't, it came back down. Probably not. More than likely it wasn't up all the way from the get-go, or you hit the button twice. I've seen that. So I don't know. But anyways, Brandon, thanks for the question. But yeah, for people not getting paid, we hardly get burned anymore. But you have to make sure when you go out there, you get your half down. Make sure when you're done with the job, if you're doing residential, commercial, I've had some shady, but you kind of know, you start learning the lay of the land as you do it, you know what I mean, that these people look shady, and we got a couple customers right now too that we're looking to probably pawn off pretty soon, because they're looking kind of, the owners have changed and they look like they're just not going in the direction that we want to go in. So, and we got a lot of other better customers that we can take care of. So anyways, hope that helps you out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button on your way out, become a subscriber. We can learn together. Comment below. if you do certain things, you know, don't be afraid to comment below if you have something that you want to say about, you know, people not paying you or half down, or something I kind of forgot, because it's a big subject. You can cover a lot on it, but this is just an overview. So anyways, have a great day. We'll talk to you later. See ya.